Alright, boys and girls, this is part 2. We're going to be looking at page 370 right now. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to grab your orange and your purple, and we are going to make 2 rows and 6 columns in that. So we're going to start by making 2 rows. So I'm going to take my orange. Here's row 1, and here is row 2. So there's our 2 rows, and then we need 6 columns. Well, we already have 1, so we know that we are going to need 5 more. Right, so here's our next column. So we still have 2 rows. Now we have 2 columns. Now we're going to make another column. We still have 2 rows, but now we have 3 columns. All right, think about it. How many rows? Still have 2. All right, let's take a look. We have 2 rows and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. So I need 1 more column to make my 2 rows and my 6 columns. So here's my 2 rows and my 6 columns. Alright, you want to try to keep it together. Now, one thing I want to tell you about these squares, both your purple and your orange, are 1 inch. Alright, they're 1 inch squares. So if we take a look at this, I want you to try to carefully trace around your shape. Alright, so I'm going to trace around it as well as I can. I can only use one hand because I'm using the other hand to hold my iPad. So it's not going to look like a correct rectangle, but I'm just going to try my best because that's all I ask you to do, is to try your best. Alright, I'm sorry if I'm getting you sick. Okay, so now we have our rectangle. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use this to make our columns and our rows. Alright, so I know that I had 1 here. And you can mark yours if you want to. Alright, so I'm going to mark here. Move it over. I'm going to mark here. I'm going to move it over. And these are all 1 inch squares. And then I should have my 1 there. Yep. Okay. I'm going to connect this. Drawing my next one. And my next one. I'm going to do this all the way across. Maybe you don't have to take yours apart. I did. Okay, and we're going to connect these lines. And since we have 2 of the squares, we know that this would be 2 inches. Now I'm going to put my square down and just draw a line straight across the top of it. And do that all the way across. There we go. Don't think I did this one yet, no. Okay, so if we take a look, we do have our 2 rows, row 1, row 2, and we have our 6 columns. Now, if we think about how many we have in each row, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in each row, 6 and 6. So we would have 6 plus 6 equals 12. Or if we count our columns, we have 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and 2. So we have 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. So we can count by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. We know that we have 12 in all. Alright, so again, rows across, columns up and down. We can either count by counting the rows and getting our total, or we can count our columns. Now these are 1 inch. Remember, these are 1 inch. You're going to need to grab your ruler for the next activity. Alright, so pause, go grab your ruler. For number 5 and number 6, you could actually use your paper pieces if you wanted, but it's going to be easier for you to use a ruler. So make sure you have your ruler. Alright, it says measure in inches, draw rows and columns, write the number of small squares. Alright, so you're going to take your ruler, make sure that you have inches right here, and remember, look at my ruler. My ruler does not start here. My measurement of inches first starts here. So I'm going to line this up, and for every inch I'm going to make a mark. Alright, we've done this before, nothing new. So for each inch, you're going to make a mark. Okay, then you're going to do it the same way on the side. Mark your inches. Okay, one here, and there. So now I'm going to draw my line straight down here, straight down here, straight down here, and then straight across. And then you're going to count how many squares you have. You're going to do the same thing over here. Alright, so draw your line for each inch. Do we have to draw a line by the 2? Nope. Draw a line for each inch, count your squares. Now down here you're going to be measuring in centimeters, which is the opposite side of your ruler. So your boxes are going to be smaller because centimeters are smaller than inches. Alright, so we're going to do our 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters, and we're going to turn it around, and you're going to mark your 1, 2, 3, 4, connect it, and count your squares. If you have any problems, don't be afraid to email your teacher. Let's quick do a sample down here if you want to before you get started. I'm going to quick draw a rectangle. So I'm going to put you guys off for a second while I draw my rectangle. Okay. Alright, so in case you got stuck, sorry about that, here's my rectangle. Alright, so it's not perfect, but I would have 1, and then 2, and there's my 3, and then I'm going to measure down the side and mark again, and then I'm going to connect all those lines. Alright, if you have any questions, again, don't be afraid to let your teacher know.